Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Whiskey Musings broadcast. I am currently, as of right now, your HD host. That's right, friends. Hopefully, everything is working out okay. I had a couple questions in terms of the audio, and so hopefully everything is popping up and sounding okay. Please let me know in the chat, the several little chat places, and let me know whether or not the audio is coming in well enough for you. But I am excited. I got a chance to geek out this week. I got a chance to put together a machine that essentially will do the full 720p 60 frames per second. I know that's geek speak, but that you are actually seeing right now. So hopefully everything is coming through clear, live, in color, and I either look better than I ever have been or I look uglier than I ever have been, whichever way you want to go with it. So anyway, hey, and guess what, Kirk? I got whiskey this week. So this is actually Whiskey Musings. Anyway, great time, great week. I got a chance to make it a guest appearance, I should say, on another channel, another YouTube channel yesterday, for Fun Friday at Addie Talks Law and Crime or something like that. Addie Talks Trials. I think that's the new term for it. But anyway, so yeah, let me know in the chat, and let me know what you got going on here. So you know, everything seems like it's functional at this point. I'm watching my obviously I'm watching and geeking on my CPU usage and things like that. It looks like everything is running optimally, at least as much as I can get it at this point. So anyway, all right. So basically, we have a few things that I wanted to talk about tonight. The first one is going to be kind of short, and I'll be honest with you. I'm going to throw the phones. The phone lines are open. I'm going to throw the phone number up a little early tonight, mainly just because I want to get some of your reactions. Maybe if you feel like calling in and discussing this, but one of the main things that I wanted to do for tonight has to deal with dealing with an interesting development. So the city of Seattle, of course, is known for its football, and I mean both kinds, both American football and the European football, otherwise in America known as soccer. We are also known for the Mariners, the baseball team, and we used to have an NBA team. We still have a WNBA, so I can't discount that. But now it's just been announced that we are going to get an NHL team, and so since I kept the phone up here, I'm going to switch it over real quick for just a second. I want to welcome the Seattle Kraken. That's right, the Seattle Kraken, Kraken, the Kraken. And yeah, so you can just imagine, much to our surprise. I mean, I've been kind of watching this, and I've seen them talk about the Kraken and that kind of stuff. They sort of tied it together with, obviously the sea kind of feel that we have, not only with Seattle, but also with the Sounders and the Mariners and, the Seahawks. So obviously we're a very, very ocean-oriented liquid kind of town. So they came with the Seattle Kraken. And I got to be honest with you, I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea of the Kraken. Just this big, fierce monster that comes out of the deep, and we can use things like the release the Kraken sounds, the release the Kraken sound bites, and things like that from like Clash of the Titans and things of that nature, if they can get the copyright, and obviously like that. But the fun side of our community has come up with a few different, dare I say, changes to the name. So here's the first one. So I'm going to take the Kraken logo off the screen. And here's the first one. Now, please do not get offended. I am not the one that did this, okay? I am not the one that did this at all. So if just keep in mind, this is humorous, and this is something that I did find on the internet. So just keep that in mind. We have a new NHL team called the Seattle Karens. Okay. Seattle Karens. I mean, yeah, okay. We can go with that. I guess. But it's the Kraken. I mean, people are creative. People are really creative with what they are going to change things around into. So as far as like the Seattle Karens is concerned, I mean, that's, yeah, okay. I mean, I could see that. I could see it. So anyway, so that was one. Another one that I saw, which is a really, I mean, this is kind of bad. But realistically, another one that I saw had to deal with the, they call the young women who run around trying to pick up on the boys that are playing, or the men that are playing in the NHL. They call them puck bunnies. Now, I've heard the term, because I follow rodeo sometimes, I've heard the term buckle bunnies. So this kind of makes sense. I mean, the puck bunnies, they're, these attractive women that are trying to wrangle in an NHL player or something along those lines. Well, my wife actually found or saw a meme, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly because I always get it wrong, but found a meme on the internet where it was, Seattle is not going to call them puck bunnies. They're going to be called crack whores. I mean, I guess with the creative types that we have out there, they're going to come up with some of these things. They're going to come up with some strange stuff. And so honestly, I mean, let's be real about it. It's the Kraken changing the name, getting the name going and everything. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I like the WHL. We have two teams within the area. We actually have, if you count across the border, we actually have several. But for the Puget Sound area in particular, you have the Everett Silvertips, and then, of course, the Seattle Thunderbirds, affectionately called the Thunder Chickens. So, realistically, I mean, we've had hockey here, but we've never really had an NHL team, I don't think. Maybe we did in the past, I don't know. I don't follow NHL too much, but it'll be kind of fun. It'll be fun to watch and see that, see all of the changes and everything else. I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure where they're going to play. I think they were building a new stadium or something. They were going to put in a new stadium. So the key arena where the Sonics or Supersonics used to play is kind of defunct at this point when it comes to sports teams other than the WNBA. I believe they still play there. But anyway, so I wanted to kind of announce that, the Seattle Kraken. So that happened this week. The official announcement happened this week. Another thing that happened this week is I have to give a shout out to my wife, because she has decided to stay with me for essentially married 22 years. That's right. Anniversaries, we go around and we celebrate anniversaries. We have anniversaries for our birth, which we call our birthdays. We have anniversaries for the birth of the nation, which is a holiday on Independence Day. And then we have anniversaries and celebrations for all kinds of different things. I mean, if you follow, Easter and Christmas, those are religious holidays. Those are celebrations of anniversaries of a sort. So one thing that you do need to understand is that, anniversaries are important. And when you're young and in love and, you're a teenager in high school, you tend to celebrate like 1 month anniversaries and, 6 month anniversaries and all these different things. I mean, all these strange little anniversaries. But realistically, the one anniversary that I think that everybody really needs to pay attention to, especially if you're with a significant other, is your wedding anniversary. Now, the cliche or the common theme, I guess, is that the man typically forgets their anniversary. And so, my wife one year decided that she was going to put inside my wedding ring our date. And so I could never have any excuse to have forgotten my anniversary. That being said, ironically, she continually has to have me take the ring off so she can read the date. But anyway, I mean, she put it in there. It's obviously it's supposed to be for a reminder, and there's a cute little message inside that I really appreciate. But I wanted to just basically tell my wife that I love you dearly. I am so happy that you decided to put up with all of my shit and shenanigans. And yes, I cussed, but all of my shit and shenanigans over the past 22 years, I'm looking forward to more. And we've been together for longer than that. We've actually been together for 25. So realistically, I can say that I have spent roughly half my life, a little bit over, but half my life with one person. And, not much of an accomplishment to some people who have been together for a while, but definitely an accomplishment in today's day and age when divorce rates are really high and that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to kind of do a little self-indulgence here, and I'm just going to give myself and my wife a round of applause. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then, of course, there are times where she gets mad at me and she basically kind of says,
"What are you doing, you moron?" Yeah,
there's times when that happens. Yes, I must admit. Anyway, so that being said, I do kind of want to talk just a few minutes about marriage and the whole idea of being together with somebody who has basically seen the worst side of you as well as the best side of you. At least I would certainly hope it would be the best side of you at the same time. But anyway, so, that being said, she has seen the worst in me. She has seen, I'm hoping, the best in me, maybe at least the best up until now. And she has put up with a lot of things over the course of the years. A lot of my, well, this is a perfect example. I mean, she's putting up with the fact that I am doing these transmissions. So, this is a thing that I wanted to start. She kind of looked at me like I was crazy at first. Here we are, 16 episodes later, I'm still doing it. So hopefully she at least somewhat understands with this. She's a wonderful woman, and I really appreciate her. She completes me. She works She's on the other side. She's my other half, my better half. And I think she and I complement each other. So, but when it comes to marriage, there's certain give and take. And hopefully not one side ends up taking more than the other. Mainly just because of the fact that you're technically in a partnership. I mean, you really should be a partner together with the person that you are with. And being in a partnership means that sometimes there's times where you have to kind of make way for things that are going on in your life, so that other person can do what they need to do, as well as making sure that you as yourself don't get caught up in this whole idea of the wife or the husband takes a back seat to the other. So being together, the idea is that the two of you are each a half that makes a whole, and you come together, you kind of mesh together, and you join together to make the whole. And it's not that one is any more overshadowed by the other. And from that standpoint, I mean, work, money, chores around the house, things like that, they all have to kind of be as evenly split as they possibly can. And in order for a successful marriage to work that way, or realistically any relationship, because if you think about it, you're kind of roommates at the same time. I mean, I used to live with roommates, and there were times where they drove me just as batty as I would say that sometimes my wife can. But there has to be a period or a time where you need to take a step back and understand that there is more to life than just being the one person in a relationship, the main person in a relationship. And that being said, I mean, having been married for 22 years and looking to continue on, I've made my share of mistakes along the way. I really have. I have said things that I didn't mean. I have, acted in ways that I would say make me pretty much kind of the worst of myself. And so, through all of that, the patience though, of my wife, that she has taken that and she's taken a lot of it. Now I've hurt her some, and I do regret that. I regret hurting her at times. I regret occasionally some of the things that, again, like I said, I've said and I've done. And I try. At the same time, we're all human. And so that is a big understanding when you're walking into a relationship. One of the things that, and actually I just thought of this, but one of the things that she does and I do is kind of a joking thing. A few years ago, she got me this. So hold on, I'm going to step away from the camera for just a second to get this. A few years ago, she got me this special sign. And it's kind of a joke between the two of us, but at the same time, it's sort of poignant, I think, in a way. And so I'm going to hold this up. Hopefully, I can get this in frame. So give me just a second. So for those of you that may not be able to see this on your screen, it says, "The smartest thing a man ever said. Yes, dear." Okay, now, the joke is that I don't ever say that. And to be honest with you, the reason why I don't has to deal with the fact that, I've been in a few situations where I've gotten volunteered. Yes, that is volunteered with a D. Volunteered for stuff. And it's gotten me in trouble to be volunteered for things. So whenever the conversation comes up, and she says something, and of course she says it from maybe across the room or whatever, and she's talking loudly, and she brings up my name, and I didn't catch the entire conversation, I'll of course respond with, "I'm sorry, what was that?" or something of that nature, and she'll just say "yes, dear," as a response. And so it's kind of funny. It's a little joke between the two of us, you know. But realistically, what that means is, you really shouldn't be just agreeing with whatever is going on. It's again, marriage is a partnership. It is, two people figuring out what the common goals are and heading toward it. And so, realistically, that's something that I think that when you're in any kind of a relationship, especially a marriage, that those are some of the things that you need to understand. And of course, later in life, and realistically later in life, you start to see, like, a long time marriage is very rare in today's day and age, I think. And one of the things that I've seen my parents go through is the idea that, my stepfather, it was my mother's second marriage. My stepfather is, and they both, they're still married. The second marriage is going strong. So one of the things that I've noticed is that, his health is kind of fading. And so she does a lot of things that she does a lot of things for him, mainly just because of the fact that he has a difficult time physically being able to do them. And again, that goes back into the whole idea of being a partnership. So one partner can't or is physically enabled to do something, and the other one picks up the load. Now there's certain things of things like safety and that kind of stuff, but realistically, it is a partnership, and it changes throughout the time. I mean, when you first get married, and it's all the lovey-dovey stuff. It's the getting used to each other. It's the physical attraction. It's the fun of being together and being able to do whatever you want. And then eventually you'll get things like moving on to having children, and then the relationship changes, and the children start taking precedence because of the fact that they have wants and needs, and then they start going to school, and then school changes things, and makes things a little more interesting, let's say. So you go from there, and you start moving into when the kids are getting older and starting to do all of their activities. And so following them around and following their activities becomes paramount. And then next thing you know, they're moving off and taking off and going to college. And that's the start of the phase that I'm currently in, is the taking off and going to college part. But I think taking the next step past that, you have the phase of the empty nest. And then realistically, because you've spent all that time, and depending upon how many kids you have and what ages they are, you spend all of that time where you have to kind of relearn who your partner actually is, because you've spent a large portion of that marriage, once the kids come, kind of doing things for the kids. And so, not that that's a bad thing. It really isn't. It's not bad. It's very good. But the thing about it is that you'll have to realize that you've matured and aged. And so coming into what I would expect being the next evolution, once the kids really start getting out and going out on their own, it's going to be a situation where you're going to have to figure each other out once again. And, that's going to be interesting. And I think that's where, especially if you've had a hard time during that kids phase, if you've had a hard time, getting into the empty nest phase, it tends to wear on you because of the fact that you have the challenge of having to relearn your partner all over again. And so that becomes a bit of a bit of a challenge. And I'm seriously hoping that, I can appreciate who my wife has grown into, and I'm hoping she can appreciate who I've grown into. But at the same time, you also need to understand, and this is something that I've tried to make sure that my wife understands here, is that, I don't want her living in my shadow. She needs to have her own interests and that kind of stuff, because just because my interests are important to me, it's nice to have interests that are separate from each other as well. You have common interests, and you can hopefully get together and have common interests, but you also need to have some separate interests for yourselves. And it makes it to where you're individuals, but you're together. And so that's kind of my thought on the whole idea. And so, coming to 22 years in an anniversary in terms of 22 years, it's amazing to me that, like I said, that she's lasted with me this long, realistically. But anyway, so those are my thoughts. Those are my kinds of things on marriage. If you guys have any ideas, obviously I've got the phone number here, and I know several people who are in successful marriages, but at least at this particular moment in time, the divorce rate is pretty high, and it's even higher depending upon the stress level that you have within the group. In the military, they used to tell us that they had a lot of divorces, mainly just because of the stress of having one of the marriage being away all the time, being deployed, especially during wartime. And then you had the stress of that person also being away in a war zone. And I can't imagine realistically what that could be like. Just even though I was in the service, I was never married at the time, so it really didn't, none of that occurred to me. But I can just imagine. I can't really imagine what that would be like. So it would be really tough. It'd be really tough for, I think, a marriage to go through. And I know a couple who the gentleman just recently retired from the Navy, and they have a very strong relationship, and they've gone through quite a bit in this last year. They used to live around here. They used to live here, but they moved to the East Coast following his Navy career. And it's incredible to me the way that you have people who are willing to kind of get into those types of relationships and being able to last for, 10, 20, 30 years, 40, 50, even if you can get there. Is just, it's an accomplishment, and it should be celebrated every single year. It should be celebrated every single year. And I certainly hope that those of you who are out there who are listening to this, that you guys guys meaning everybody, kind of take a look at your partner and, understand that they bring a lot to the table. That they bring a lot, that they have plenty of things to offer, and your life is going to go through different phases, and your marriage is going to go through phases as well, and that's just a byproduct of being human, and byproduct of having something to live for. So I see a couple people out there talking about their 20. It'll be 28 years in September. Congratulations. I know the two of you are well, if anybody can keep up with, the captain. Anyway, Sorry, I had to throw that out there. Anyway, I mean, you should celebrate it. You should be proud of the fact that you've been able to do what you've been able to do, and be proud of the fact that you are together and you stay together. And what really matters in terms of that is definitely a lot of hard work. I mean, nothing in this world comes easy. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Nothing in this world is going to come easy. So what you have to do is you have to put effort into everything. And the part that matters is the desire to put forth the effort into this relationship to be able to do what you are doing and not just throw it away. Because I really and truly believe that, at least in America, we've kind of gotten to this point of being sort of a throwaway society. And that is reflected in the idea of marriage as well. I mean, Hollywood, shoot, they're almost competing for who's going to have the shortest marriage. And, some people jump into marriage and they say, hey, you know what? We're just going to jump into marriage, and that's, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great for the two of us to just kind of get together. But you really have to consider what you are doing, and consider it in a way that makes you understand the magnanimous decision that you are about ready to put on. I mean, it is a commitment. It takes dedication. It takes time. It takes effort. And it takes a lot of patience too, to be able to understand and be together with somebody for a very long time. Now, recently I was able to go out to a wedding, and yes, I still have some work to do. Sorry, guys. They know who they are if they end up watching this video, but the thing that was interesting was we had a conversation, because they had been together for a long time, and they were a little older than your young kids of these days, but they kind of, during our time, the times that I was able to visit them and talk to them, we had conversations about marriage. And realistically, the advice that I gave them is kind of the same advice that I'm saying here. If you want to do it just to do it, then that's not a reason to do it. If you're doing it because you really and truly care about the person and you want to put forth the effort and the work into making it a long-term relationship, then that is what you need to do. You need to focus on that. And there's going to be distractions along the way, but realistically, and children are the same way. I mean, people just going around and having children to have children just because it seems fun is not really the way to necessarily go about it. You have to have a bit of a commitment. You have to have a bit of a desire to want to bring another life into this world. And, some people talk about, having a pet sort of being the same as a child. And in concept and in theory, you could kind of say that, but I wouldn't necessarily make that like a complete apples to apples comparison. I would say it's more of like an apple to an orange. They're both fruit. They both hang from a tree, and they're both sort of round. But other than that pretty much kind of throws it. But that being said, anything good in this world is worth the effort. It's worth the patience, the waiting, the arguments, the fighting, the making up, that kind of stuff. And you need to really focus on the idea that, the vows that you put out in there was a mention of vows, taking vows very seriously. And this is true. The vows that you put out there, I wrote my vows, and, I didn't just do the standard vows. I did my own vow. I wanted to make sure that she really and truly understood where I was coming from, what I wanted to do for her. and what I was hoping to bring to the table. And this is definitely something that I encourage other people to do, because going with just the canned vows, I mean, yeah, you could do that, but standing up and actually putting thought into what it is that you want to say to this person that you are about ready to pledge essentially the rest of your life to is it's a rewarding experience. It is a huge responsibility, and being able to sit down and choose the right words that you're looking for puts the whole thing into a perspective that I think makes it to where it is a huge commitment, a huge dedication. You want to make sure that you're honest. You want to make sure that what you are saying is going to really and truly reflect what it is that you are looking for in that relationship and where you think that relationship will go. Now, honestly, I mean, I don't know about my wife. I'm probably going to pop this on her, but we want to renew our vows. I think at 25. We kind of want to renew our vows at 25, but I'm not sure if I'm going to say the same things to her, because obviously things have changed. Our relationship has changed. We've moved on. We've created things that are new and exciting. And so, that being said, it's kind of one of those things that I think, renewing your vow, renewing the promises that you've made, those are very important. And they might even be so important that you could possibly do them more than just, at 25 or 50 or whatever. But the thing is that you need to understand that you should renew your vows to that person. And sometimes, you don't even have to say it to them. You can actually say it to yourself when you get up in the morning. Maybe something that you do for, whatever, for when you get up and as you're sitting and drinking coffee or whatever, just some kind of thought. I know for a fact that there were several times that I went and, I would wake up and I would be thankful for the fact that I had a person that I could lean on and depend on. That I knew that with whatever was happening, whatever I was within my travels and what I was doing, that I could have somebody at home to lean on and know that things were still being done and things were still being taken care of at home. My wife wanted to experience our children's lives and stay at home for as long as she could. And thankfully, I was able to provide that for her. That was something that she had as a dream. I did that for many, many years, and that was my bringing things to the table. And that was something that I did for her. We've gone a little bit beyond it now. She's had jobs, but at the same time, she has been devoted to the kids, and that's something that she really takes her responsibility as a mother very, very seriously. And not to say that I don't as a father, but realistically understanding that, my children are being very well taken care of by the woman that I love. And, I personally think she's doing a pretty good job at it. I'm not going to say that everything is perfect, because nothing is, but she's doing a very good job. Our two children are very wonderful. I love them both very much. My son, just graduated high school, and my daughter is doing just fantastic, both in school and her other interests. So, obviously, at least from my perspective, and especially when I was growing up, my mother used to always tell me that the reflection of a marriage when it comes to having kids is you can see the reflection of the marriage in the children, and that the children are more indicative of what's going on within that marriage and how good of parents that you actually are, realistically, than anything else. Because realistically, if your children are, doing quite well, that means they've had the love and support that they've needed from a central family unit. And realistically, that's what marriage is truly all about, is the whole concept of procreation and moving on, getting the next generation going. I mean, that's honestly what marriage is kind of the whole point of it, is to, at least in the traditional sense, to bring to the table the next generation. And so, having that as a byproduct or the result of a marriage, that's a huge responsibility that we as humans take on. And if you look at even in the animal kingdom, they are, they have their responsibilities too. But at a certain point, a lot of the animal world, they're just like, boop, there you go. You're all done. We're done. We're out. You're gone. You can survive on your own. But yet humans, we kind of take on the whole process of caring for the kids. And so, it's important to find and protect the individual that you bring on, and be able to provide as best you can everything that you can for that individual to help out and provide for the next generation of people. And that's my thoughts. Those are my understandings of what marriage is and why we should be there. And then of course, like I said, you sit and you anticipate that you're going to be together for many, many years. Some people make it, some people don't. It happens that way. But at the same time, you've got to put forth the effort to make it. You've got to actually work at it. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and that can happen. But you need to at least make sure that you have the commitment to carry the load, the responsibility, the accountability to that individual. And so sitting here and looking at 22 years, hoping for a lot more than that, I can honestly say that I found the best partner that I could. And I am very, very happy with my choice. I am never going to regret that choice. And I haven't, and I won't. And realistically, when something, or if something does happen, where, because we took the vows till death do us part, and I truly believe that. But after all is said and done, I will never get married again. I am a one and done kind of person. And so, I will make absolutely certain that I will do everything in my power to make sure that we are together. So I love you, sweetheart. Here's to 22 and hopefully more. But anyway, and to all of those out there who have reached more than that, here is to you as well. Wow. So after last week's fun, which I have to admit, first of all, I mean, this is 16. This is the sweet 16th episode of the Whiskey Musings broadcast. I am extremely appreciative of everybody that tunes in as often as you can. I am appreciative of the subscribers that I've been able to pick up. And I encourage, if you haven't already, please make sure that you go out and, follow the Whiskey Musings page on Twitter, follow it on Facebook, and definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's my major part of this broadcast. That's where I broadcast. That one for sure works. The Facebook one is on my personal Facebook page, so it doesn't go out on the actual Whiskey Musings page. Maybe eventually we'll get there, but we'll just kind of have to see. And I do try on the Twitter side, the Periscope TV, but that one seems to be currently my pain in the rear, because I tried it, and even tonight, I tried to make sure that I had everything signed up and everything set up and all that, and right now it doesn't seem to be reacting too well to what's going on. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, I geeked out. That was my surprise for last week. I kind of mentioned it, and I geeked out, and I got myself a whole new setup here. So now I am running to you again at a full 720p, 60 frames per second. This is a big step for me. Big step. As far as this goes. So, in this little machine that I got, I actually built it for another reason, but this is a side benefit. So, this is really, really cool. And I enjoy doing this. I hope you enjoy, coming and sitting and talking. Not really got some chat going on here, but, and the phone lines are open still. Speaking about that, so if you want to join in on the phone, you can. But other than that, that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about. It was anniversaries, weddings, marriage, my thoughts on it, and of course, the Seattle Kraken. People. People are going to tear that name apart. And I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of looking forward to some of the creative ways. Wow. I think anything nowadays people will do. People will create memes out of and that kind of stuff. But the Seattle Kraken, maybe I'll get lucky enough and go down and actually pick up a game or whatever. I got a good buddy who is like really into hockey, and so I don't know. I haven't talked to him recently about it, but I'm sure we'll catch up at one point. In fact, he may even be watching right now. I don't know. But anyway, he played hockey, grew up in upstate New York, and so he played hockey a lot, played goalkeeper, and which I thought was just incredible because the gentleman is a physically large individual. But anyway, so Seattle Kraken, anniversaries, and marriage. So anyway, thank you all for joining. For those of you that are watching this, I really do appreciate, and I also hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. Please step in. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I know I was on my way out, but I want to throw this out here. Oh my gosh. So this person came from the other channel that I was telling you about. So I just want to throw out a really good shout out to Poetic Justice. She kind of goes by PJ on the other channel. But thank you very much for joining. I don't care if you were late or not. I do appreciate that. You can go back and actually check out all of my other videos that I have out there. And, she subscribed just yesterday, I think. So thank you very much for joining, PJ. I hope you liked the program. This one was a little deeper than most, but anyway, so yeah, so Poetic Justice, thank you very much for coming. And again, thank all of my subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has joined tonight, everyone who watches, because just because I do a live show on Saturday nights does not mean that you cannot go out and watch my videos. I've got them all on YouTube. You can go back and watch them. I'm still working on trying to get some of the descriptions in and that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I appreciate everything, and I appreciate all of my watchers and listeners. So anyway, thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time on the Whiskey Musings broadcast. Have a wonderful evening, and congratulations to all those who have celebrated anniversaries, long-term anniversaries this year. We love y'all. Good night.